amasomo y'ubuhuza uyu munsi ndabasuhuje baha ikaze muri iki cyumba kigiye kuberamo ibikorwa bitandukanye. Navuga ko ibikorwa birimo uburyo bubiri, harimo ibya mbere bibanza byerekeranye n'ibiganiro muri rusange, hanyuma igikorwa nyamukuru cyo gusoza amasomo kuri intake ya kabiri. Amazina yanjye yitwa Mutabazi Harrison, nkaba ndi umucamanza mu kigo cy'ikirenga, nkaba n'umuvugizi w'inkiko, nkaba n'umuvugizi w'inkiko, nkaba ndi umuhuza, nkaba ari nanjye gusangiza amagambo uyu munsi. Nkaba nishimiye cyane kuba ari njyewe watoranyije kugira ngo nyobore umuhango uyu munsi, cyane cyane kubera igikorwa cy'ubuhuza mu kigo cy'ikirenga dufite ku mutima, kubera abagenzi bacu mwabonye bari aha ngaha bagakurikira ikinyarwanda muri rusange, muratwemerera murwego ko tuza kujya tuvanga indimi, cyane cyane ururimi rw'icyongereza, kubera abagenzi bacu bari aha ngaha kugira ngo nabo badasigara inyuma muri rusange, kuko tutashoboye gutegura ibyerekeye n'ubusemuzi kugira ngo nabo bakurikirane. Rero binyemerera ngo umeze mu rurimi rw'icyongereza. Honorable Chief Justice Emeritus, Chairperson of the Human Rights Commission, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, graduates that are going to be graduates in a while, good afternoon, and I'd like to welcome you. My name is Harrison Tabazi. I'm a spokesperson of the judiciary and also a point person of mediation and a mediator, a certified mediator. Also, I'm delighted to be your moderator today and announcer. And I'm very delighted for this occasion. This occasion comes in the wake of the Mediation Week that kicked off on this Monday. And this is the fourth day where we're having almost the culmination of the process that we started. We'll be having two items. We'll be having a panel of panelists that are going to be presenting items, and then after will be the certification ceremony. We'll be joined by the Honorable Chief Justice shortly, and then we'll commence in that order. So without further ado, I would like, before we proceed with announcing the program, I would like to recognize the guests that are here, especially guests that are mainly not in the judicial chain, or the justice chain as we usually say. Of course, notably, we would like to let you know that we are with Mr. Bruce Evans and Susan. Please welcome them. Thank you so much. They came all the way from San Francisco to attend, especially during the area week and this certification ceremony. We are also with a friend and colleague from US side. Please welcome him also. He's not part of the invitation. USA is very dear to us and very much supportive in mediation. We're also very happy to have you. We're also definitely with a lot of others that have come up to see this ceremony come up. So we are very happy to be with you in that order. So without further ado, I'd like to announce the lineup of how things are going to be following. In a very short while, we will listen to the opening remarks by the chairperson of the court Mediation Advisory Committee, Professor Sam Rujeje, the Chief Justice Emeritus. And after that, we'll have remarks from ED Legal Aid Forum. And after that, we'll transition into the panels. We will expecting to have two panels that are going to be very brief and very precise and fast. We were expecting Honorable Tito Taremara to be joining us shortly, but if he doesn't, we'll have the second panel having done, and then we'll have them doing theirs after this. So without further ado, I would request the Honorable Chief Justice Emeritus to please proceed with the remarks. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Harrison. I don't know where to start in terms of protocol because I can't say everybody, but I see many important people scattered around. But if we say was observed. I'm glad to see you all, and I don't want to mess up the protocol. So, today I'm happy to be with you on this important occasion, bringing together mediators, professional mediators, and also to witness the graduation of the new crop of mediators. It is an important gathering. I think the last time we met with the mediators was about a year ago in May of last year. And it is time to check how things are going so far. To see what progress has been done, what successes, and what challenges. But let me start by congratulating those who are graduating today to become professional mediators. I think you've done the right thing. I hope that you will enjoy being part of this growing profession in Rwanda. And of course to wish them every success. To the mediators, as you know, I don't know, I think Harrison mentioned that I'm chairman of the Court Mediation Advisory Committee. What he will say is that I am a representative of mediators. The committee is made up of a number of stakeholders. The Bar Association, will have the Legal Aid Forum, the PSF, of the business people, who else? KIAC, that's right. So, and of course, mediators, and I'm one of two representatives of the mediators. When the Chief Justice set up the committee, we were all members, and my fellow committee members looked around and saw who had the most gray hair and decided that he should be the chairperson. So that's how I became chairperson. So today we are looking at, we brought you together so that you can discuss on this profession, how far you've gone, what challenges you've made. I know that the road has not been easy. It's never easy to start on a new career, but also it is even more difficult in circumstances like ours, where mediation is fairly new. We know that we've had some form of mediation for centuries. It's part of our culture. We've had gachacha for centuries. We've had inamasoja for centuries. We've had many other fora, in which we try to resolve our differences, our conflicts, our disputes in the amicable amicable way to keep the harmony of our community and our society. So mediation in that sense is not new, but it is new in the sense that our society has become more complicated, more sophisticated in terms of business and areas. So the disputes are also more complex and they require some higher level of dispute resolution than we have in Abuansi. And that is why in the judiciary we started experimenting with modern mediation some years ago, I think from 2008 onwards. But it became more serious in around 2018 when it was put in the law, the civil procedure law, empowering registrars and judges to do mediations and also to be able to refer cases to professional mediators. So, as I was saying, the road has not been easy, just like it is never easy to start a new profession, but we are trying. I think when we last met, you guys complained about a number of things, and asked us to go and try to find out what are the problems and how they can be resolved. So, in the last few months, myself and my deputy Judge Karimon are here, and Inspector Harrison and Benedette, the trainer of all of you. We've been going around the country, especially in the towns and in the Kigali city, to find out what the issues are, why we don't see mediation growing as fast as we would like. And we've discovered a few problems which I will try to cover briefly. First of all, the lack of understanding by the public. I think we've done a bit of sensitization on radio and TV and other media to try to get the population to understand what this mediation is about and how you go about it, especially for cases which are already in court, and how we are trying to handle them. So far, we don't have that level of appreciation of mediation by members of the public. So the awareness raising has to continue. Then, as I mentioned on Monday to the lawyers, I think some of them are here and will hear it again. There is still resistance to mediation by many of the lawyers. And again, we are trying to tackle that through training as mediators. trained will get more ambassadors to spread the word among their fellows. There is also lack of training among the judicial officers. Here I'm talking about registrars and judges. They are not trained in mediation, especially the judges could do more harm mediating than not doing so, because they are trained in a particular way to take decisions. In mediation, since the mediator does not take decisions but only guides, there is a problem of understanding the whole process. And in our meetings, with the judges and the registrars, we try to explain the purpose of mediation, the principles of mediation, and how they are expected to go about it. And the senior enthusiastic, you can see that they were not confident in what they were doing before, and are gaining more confidence, and will be doing more in terms of mediations themselves, but also in the way of explaining to the litigants the benefits of mediation and why it is important they try it, and it should be the first call rather than going to court. There is also a problem of cost of mediation, which is not appreciated by members of the public, that a mediator provides a service which must be paid for. Although the amount to be paid to a mediator is very low compared to other costs like lawyers' fees, the people are still reluctant to pay that small amount, saying, well, I've already paid for a lawyer, I've paid court fees, now you want me to go out and pay someone else to do my case. They don't quite understand it. They don't understand that if it happened that the matter is resolved in mediation, that's the end of the matter. There are no appeals, no reviews, and that's the end of the matter. So they save what they could have spent on appeals and other procedures. So we still have to sensitize the people about that. On the other hand, I think some of you, I've seen on social media, have complained that the fees is too low, and that it should be more flexible, so that, for instance, in a complicated case of a bank or an insurance company, the mediator should be able to charge more than what is on the list issued by, on the tariff issued by the Chief Justice. But that is something that will have to be dealt with during negotiating a new law, which we hope will come to put in effect the policy, the ADR policy, not so long from now. there are people who are poor and have struggled to go to court because they have no choice. If we have to lure them into mediation, we should also consider pro bono services from mediators to such people. Our tissue. And of course, Mr. Kananga might think about legal aid for such people as well. I know that in Kenya, for instance, they started a program like ours called an expedition. But they also have a program of funding for people who want to go into mediation, to attract them into mediation because it saves quite a lot for the judiciary, for the person concerned, as well as other benefits. Yeah. There is also a question of lack of space for mediation. I think some of you have experienced a problem of finding where to do a mediation because you probably would want to do it at court, but there are no rooms at the court for mediation. Already the registrars are struggling to find private space in which they can do the mediations. The judges sometimes do them in their chambers. So, again, the question of time maybe eventually we'll have for space. I understand that there is a program that new courts build, new court buildings will include mediation rooms. But progressively, also, as you establish yourselves, you will find suitable premises for that. There's also the lack of small conveniences, especially at courts. Normally, you should provide water or something, have suitable furniture to make parties comfortable to discuss and negotiate a deal. We still have a problem there. And of course then, I think the biggest problem for all of us mediators has been not getting enough work. You've trained and you are eager to start your career in mediation, but you're not getting any references for cases to mediate. And the people, as we said, are not yet aware enough to be able to initiate mediation even before they do the filing. So, welcome, Honorable Chief Justice. I think the solution to this, or rather, to go back, the way that government looked at this was that the traditional mediation processes have gone well. The policy system is saving the courts a lot of cases that will be on their dockets. people are resolving their disputes in the amicable way, and it's promoting harmony within the communities. But it is only covering low cost or low value cases. So I think the approach in the ADR policy is that peaceful way of resolving disputes that is traditional to us should be upgraded to cover as many disputes as possible, however complicated they might be. So we expect that this policy will help in the creating more work for you as mediators, because as I mentioned the other day, one proposal in the ADR policy is that the court should have the power to order mediation in a particular case. If the judge feels that this is a suitable case for mediation, he will make an order directing you to go to mediation. You still have a choice of a mediator, but you have to go to mediation. That is also the system they have in Kenya and in Singapore and some other countries. The other alternative proposal is that there should be pre-filing mediation. In other words, before you file your case, you have to try mediation. Because that would maybe create a lot of cases to go to mediation before the country is ready. It is likely that that will be introduced in phases. Commercial cases, family cases, maybe administrative and labor, so that people will get used to the system. More mediators will be coming up after training, and then eventually mediation can be a mainstream form of dispute resolution. And maybe it will go back to being voluntary once everybody is aware and it is being taken up freely. Okay, so that was just to warn you first that don't despair, you're going to get cases very soon. Yeah. The other strategies that we are taking in improving the environment for mediation is to continue awareness raising among the public, in the media and so on. Also to approach business entities to buy into mediation. I think one of the issues that you raised in our meeting in May was that a number of businesses, including banking and insurance, were reluctant to do mediation. But since then, we have had sessions with the bankers, insurance companies, and the other day on Tuesday, there was a session, I think some of you followed it on YouTube, where we see that business executives are ready to get into mediation. They now realize the benefits of mediation. They have experienced mediations themselves, and Sorry. Yeah. Sorry, my technology here is. Yes. The other thing that we are doing is to have to set up an organization, or rather, you mediators to create your own organization that will handle training and the ethics of mediators. I think we started this process 2 years ago when we had a Zoom meeting and decided to set up a task force to organize, to create an organization for mediators so that they can regularly meet, exchange ideas, exchange successes and challenges, and how to resolve them, but also follow up on the ethics of mediators. I know our committee was also charged by the Chief Justice to follow up on the conduct of mediators in cases that originated in courts. I have to assure you, Mr. Chief Justice, that we have had no complaints from members of the public about the conduct of mediators so far. So we want to encourage the formation of the association so that it can take over this aspect and be self-regulatory like the Bar Association is. But we shall keep an eye on you, of course. This also will deal with the continuous development through webinars and in-house, in-person workshops to continue to improve the skills of mediators. Yes, and in order to maintain high professional standards and good conduct, there will be a code of ethics. I think Mr. Fred Wewunda is here to brief you more about that. So, we are today also lucky to have Mr. Bruce Edwards here, whose course most of you have taken. Is a highly experienced mediator and arbitrator. I'm not introducing him, but I want to point out that he started his mediation as a young man, as a young lawyer, abandoned litigation because he was not satisfied with the way things were going, and I think he will tell you more about that. And started a firm for mediation, and they continued from there. Now we have accumulated, I think, 35 years of experience in mediation, and he knows the pitfalls of setting up a career in mediation, and we'll give you some tips on how you can start yours and develop it until you are successful. Not like him, of course, but we will be conclusion, I'm saying that the road to successful mediation career is not easy, but you should not be discouraged. I want to recall the song by our famous Rwandan composer, Rugamba Cyprian, who wrote a song to say, continue on the road that you have started. Don't be discouraged. You chose well. And the Almighty is with you. Mukomeze inzira mwatangiye. Mwicika intege, mwahisemo neza. Twese turi kumwe nawe. I want to thank the Legal Aid Forum and their collaboration partners for supporting this event to be successful, to be able to attract all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chief Justice Emeritus, for the illustrative speech that has set the tone, especially to those that are not from here, knowing that is happening, the Quran mediation and mediation at length in Rwanda. So thank you very much. And at this stage, I think we'll have to welcome the guest of honor, the Chief Justice that has joined us. We're very happy to have you join us, Stephen Abbas. We are now heading on to the next speech, please. The AD, the Way Forum, Mr. Kalanga. Thank you so much. Welcome.
The Honorable Chief Justice, the Honorable Chief Justice Emeritus, distinguished participants, good afternoon. All protocols observed, as the Chief Justice said. It's very hard to speak after my chair, who I happen to be on the same advisory council. And I think one of the reasons is that as the editor and our chairperson as the advisory committee, he understands the process better than I do. And I want to keep my speech, my remarks very short. I will start by thanking the Honorable Chief Justice for the continued support and collaboration with the Legal Forum. And the Legal Forum does a lot of things together with the judiciary and the justice sector as a whole. And this event is one of them. So we are glad also we are glad to have Dennis from USAID representing the country director. USAID is supporting the Legal Forum in a lot of ways, including also supporting mediation and ADR policy. Those two policies are very important to us as the Legal Forum, but also our partner. We are happy that USAID is supporting access to justice through the implementation of those two policies. Thank you for taking time here. Now, I think the Chief Justice Emeritus mentioned everything that I was. So the Legal Forum, we are not professional mediators. I haven't done myself. I haven't done the course. But the Legal Forum comes in from the perspective of community mediation, which we are known for and we've been doing quite successfully. I don't have time, but I can tell you that community mediation, as we talk about professional mediation and professional mediators who are graduated. And I think to me, and from the perspective of the organization that I represent, and I'm happy that the policy that we are talking about today embeds community mediation as well. One of the policy that we should be implementing in order to make we don't have a court system, and also to make sure that we attain the harmony that the Chief Justice was talking about. Also, if you are a conflict-free society, I think grassroots mediation, community mediation is very important. And this is what we are doing as the Legal Forum and some of the NGOs and sector. I know mediation is also being practiced. So, the Chief Justice did mention proposals from professional mediators. Probably I would want to hear more on this when we have the panel. Because what we are trying to do is also to make sure that at community level, so thinking about how services of professional mediators can trickle down to the community. We're already trying to do that with the Bar Association through pro bono services. We're also thinking about bringing on board the Professional Bailiffs Association, which, as you all know, they also have a big mandate to implement, to serve justice to our society in terms of implementing decisions done by the court, made by the court. I think the current legal framework they have and the discussions we have also are taking into account how the bailiffs can contribute in terms of enforcing court decisions and other important decisions that, as you all know, we also have them pending, and once court decisions are not enforced, then justice is not served. We're going to bring them on board to see how they can do pro bono. So you can see from a range of professionals, there are a lot of services that we want to, synchronize. If we are to talk about harmony, if you are to talk about fighting violence, if you are to talk about clearing case backlogs, there are a lot of things we have to look at broadly. And professional mediators should now all be part of that ecosystem, the justice ecosystem. How do we make sure that your services are also rendered to the most vulnerable? They also, the Legal Aid Forum, our services go to the most vulnerable. We're still considering category 1 and 2 of Ubudehe. I know there are discussions about this. That will require also comprehensive discussion on many states who should receive these services. If at all the categories are reconsidered and we have to give these pro bono services, another discussion should be around who benefits from our services. What basis do we choose? Who should and who should not benefit from our services? Finally, the Legal Aid Forum has a very big program, a 5-year program that USAID has supported in terms of supporting ADR, broadly speaking. We are happy to continue working with the judiciary and the justice actors on a range of activities, capacity building especially. And very soon we'll be reaching out to you we intend to do an exercise to see, we have a lot of NGOs who are doing community mediation. There are very many, so much so that we don't know who is doing what and what tools they are using. So one of the activities that the Legal Aid Forum will be undertaking is a comprehensive mapping to know who is involved in community mediation, what tools they are using, the approaches they are using, other new approaches that the policy is proposing is trauma-informed mediation, ADR, something very important given the fragility of people we are trying to assist. This is something new that the policy is trying to emphasize on. So without ado, on behalf of the forum, I want to thank the judiciary and other partners here present and to pledge our support and collaboration in terms of implementing the policy. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Andrews, for your speech and the assurance that you continue supporting the genuine mediation. Thank you very much. At this juncture, we are transitioning to the other part of our presentations. If you allow the Lord Honorable Chief Justice, we will request the second panel. As we said, the first hasn't shown up yet, so we'll be having the second panel that is going to be doing a theme on mediation law in support in the implementation of the area policy. And the moderator is Mr. Julie Kavaruganda. Julie Kavaruganda is Emeritus Attorney. Please welcome. He's coming on the podium and is going to introduce his panel, and that is all. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Justice. Honorable Chief Justice or Protocol Observer, I have the privilege to be the moderator of the next panel with Engineer Guihunde Fred that I invite here on the panel. Engineer. We will be followed with Executive Director of LAF, Andrew Kananga. Please join us to the panel. And SG of TIAC, Victor Mugabe. So, welcome. As we see, it's different people involved already in mediation. They're well known in the community. They're not all lawyers, so it gives us the opportunity to see different perspectives. But I will begin my session and the moderation by asking the chairperson of the Professional Mediator Task Force, Engineer Guihunde Fred, to tell us how he is planning to organize the profession in line with the area of profession policy. So thank you, Engineer. The floor is yours.
Honorable Chief of Justice, all protocols observed. As mediators, our role in implementation of the policy, and as the chairperson of the task force, I think we cannot say anything in mediation without the practitioners or mediators. That means in order for mediation to take place, in order for the mediation process be effective, there should be those who have played the role of mediation. And that's how we are coming in to organize this profession. 2 years back, there was a task force that was put in place to organize the profession. As you know, mediators are coming from all disciplines. I myself am an engineer, and the lawyers are very legal, but it's cross-cutting. Mediation, you find it in every discipline, like any other accounting dispute resolution, especially when you go to construction industry. You find it very important, but that's not the topic for today. The topic is how, as mediators, what is the role that we are playing in order to have this policy implemented as fast as possible. So what we are doing as mediators, as the task force, we are trying to organize the professionals so that the process is enhanced speedily. Like any other profession, there must be regulation. Like any other profession, there must be checks and balances. So that whatever is done with the high professionalism and the boundaries, so that, as you know, human beings, they are always boundaries. But on top of that, the mediators are self-republic. So there should be the factor of safeguarding the public. That's why there's regulation. Whatever they're doing doing it for this, for the benefit of the public. But on the other behalf, also on their benefit, as you organize the mediators, it is beneficial to both sides, the public and the mediators. So I know most of the mediators are coming from professional bodies, which becomes easier because it is coming at a time where most of these actors are from professional bodies, and they understand what is to get organized, to be together, what are the benefits, how do you share the challenges and experiences, how are you trained, what are the incentives that you can do better, what are those incentives for those who do better than the others. So there's a lot that one has to see in organizing these mediators. So maybe because of the interest of time, I also like to let everyone hear what is the roadmap, how far we come together in organizing this body. There's a task force, as I said, which was put in place to come up with an organized body. But as the Chief just let us say, there are challenges that are been here and there. But we are grateful that today we have gone we understand that this is really good. Where we want to say, okay, what can we do? What the body that now is in place? Which I wanted to tell you how far we come today. From the experience of other bodies that in order to have an institution, we come up with a name, which is the Rwanda Institute of Mediators. And then we need to formalize it. And then there are things that we put in place. We came up with a draft law governing the profession and establishing organization of the institute. The draft law is those mediators of the field that happened, plus other documents in terms of the code of ethics. Then, but with the roadmap going somewhere. The roadmap is that we're going to have a provisional acceptance of this institute. Because today, one will ask, yes, we have the judicial system, which is reflecting, which is another regard to this. But if anyone has an issue with the mediators, for example, if we want, we have the role of mediators, which is on the judicial website. But if anyone has anything to do with mediation, who does he approach? For example, if one wants, maybe have information to do with mediation, where does he go? If anyone wants a mediator, yes, there's a role. Who does he talk to? That's why we say we need to have this institute. And we have our place today, after having all this document in place, we are planning very soon with the help of the advisory committee to seek a provisional acceptance of this institution so that we can have office and then we have organized it. And from there, then you can have the gathering. I believe many mediators of the past, why have not been meeting as the chairperson of the advisory committee said, the objective of the organization is to meet, but we cannot meet until we exist.
So today we are saying we have gone a distance where we feel in the next few days, actually we are saying maybe in the next month, we should have these documents in place and the institute organized. provisional acceptance, so that you can have a general assembly, and then others will follow. That is having the leadership, and then that is the process that will enhance the ADC policy. Thank you so much. I think others can take. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chairperson. So the family is growing of mediators. We have the support of the Chief Justice, the Bar Association, Edwards, USAID, and Chief Justice Emeritus is heading the committee that is already in place. So everything is in place as we have the human beings, we have God with us, and we have LAF, the Legal Aid Forum, also helping the community. So how do you see the role of mediators, professional mediators, in the helping the legal aid and helping the community? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Today we are talking about mediation. Professional mediators. And as I said in my speech, it's very important. I'm happy we've moved. I also sit on the advisory committee, so I don't want to be misunderstood. The fact that we sit on an advisory committee, we deliberate on how we can make the profession more organized, including the draft that the chairperson talked about. It's all very important, and I also had a chance of leading or being together with a team from the judiciary. We visited Kenya, and we saw how they are getting to organize court mediation. Very important, and I liked that because, which is what we are doing here. I think for them, when they started court mediation, it was more to do with how cases come to court. They drag for so long, and a lot can happen. Impede investment, for instance, because they started the pilot with commercial cases, and later on they did family. We all know how family issues can also tend to drag a lot in court. And we could see when we met them, they told us how the cost benefit of court mediation, how they have been able to, quicken a lot of cases that involved a lot of financial transactions so that businesses don't stop. Very important. And we also know that our commercial courts also have huge cases from their sector, especially and other sectors, that if we're given a chance to quicken this so that they don't contribute to backlog, so that we can release money, transaction can continue, that's very important. But the policy talks about community mediation, which is now where we're coming. And one of the contributions that from professional mediators, as the Chief Justice Emeritus said, pro bono services. As you discuss fees to charge, as you discuss how to charge, as you discuss how low or high the fees that you are charging is, because in the end, one of the things we've been struggling with in the justice sector is also about backlog, small claims, petty offenses, petty claims that come in court and they take ages. Community mediation, first of all, is preventive in a way that you won't have a lot of litigation. And actually, court mediation is also a way of averting litigation. As we talk about how to, encourage people to resolve conflicts amicably, let us also think about community members. So, the first contribution that we are expecting from professional mediators is pro bono services. And as you draft your bill, whatever you want to call it, think about how to incorporate that. Because when we did the first look on professional mediators, we did not think about how they can contribute to, run this month.
was ikibazo tujya kurangiza amazi n'ikigihugu. And now, I also sit on their board. And now, it happens that they can be very beneficial. We've started that discussion. So, that is point number one, very important of all. Second point, as expert, trained by the judiciary, by other stakeholders, we would want you also to contribute in terms of training, especially our community mediators, paralegals. And very involved in mediation. I think professional mediators can be a very good resource for capacity building for other mediation. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Andrew. So now I have the perspective. The Institute of Professional Mediators will be maybe operating in 1 month to come. In any case, recognized. Document for drafter is already there, internal rules, ethics, and now we have already some challenges, chairperson, so preparing for pro bono services, and being the trainers of training other people, more people. So I will be asking now for the SG of KIAC. So how do you see your role in preparing or working with professional mediators for the industry sector? So we need your input there. Thank you, SG.
Thank you, moderator. Thank you, Honorable Chief Justice, for the opportunity given to the panelists here to exchange the experience with regard to the implementation of the EDR policy. So here, when speaking on behalf of the Kigali International Arbitration Center, maybe for those who are not familiar with the center, we may say that it's a private settlement body that uses arbitration and mediation and other alternative dispute resolution mechanisms for the public. But the focus is put on business matters. As my colleague Andrew said, the civil society, like the emphasis for the civil society in implementing the ADR policy is focused on community mediation, and their role is very, very, very crucial. So before maybe asking the strategies that my institution is putting in place with regard to working with the certified mediators, I may say that the center, the policymakers, the judiciary, the local government, private sector, so they cannot really implement this policy without the neutrals, the certified mediators. So, and you are very glad that Edward Mediation Academy has played a very big role in having those practitioners that all of us need to make sure that the policy is adequately implemented and the people that we serve benefit from it. So now, with regard to the question that Batonier Emeritus has asked, so now what KIAC is now doing? So what we are doing, first of all, is to consider that the collaboration with the KIAC and certified mediators is more than imperative. And in whatever we do, we say that we need their service. The center is an institution. The center is not a tribunal. The center is not a panel of mediators. The center needs the service of the mediators. So first of all, I may say that what we are planning to do is to create that strong and permanent networking system between the center and all the certified mediators to exchange on mediation, the challenges that the system is facing, and how we can improve the system, and how that can contribute not only to access to justice, but also to the empowerment of the business sector. So network is really very important. Secondly is working with them to create or putting in place a very strong referral mechanisms. So today we've been working with mediators so far at the judiciary, at court annexed mediation, and the private sector, and the companies, some companies, but we're still lacking that kind of a strong referral mechanisms. So as of today, the experience you are getting is that most court annexed mediation cases are dealt with judges who usually have already pending case backlog in front of them to deal with. So if we have developed a very strong referral mechanism, we should allow judges deal with those other pending cases and mediation case be dealt with the private mediators that we have. And I know that today more than 200 have already been accredited, so they need a work to support the judiciary. So, but with regard to commercial justice now, we do have mediators practicing in commercial dispute. Why can they really be involved to support the judiciary? So we think that referral mechanism is needed, not only with the courts, but also with companies, with the individuals, with the law firms. So everyone involved need to know that there is the existence of that service that need to be done, and in that regard, we need to create that referral mechanism that is I think is very helpful. We also need to develop kind of specialization in mediation. If I'm not mistaken, all of us here we've undertaken basic training in mediation, but not only in the business sector where we do operate, but in other fields we need specialization. And the issue of specializing in mediation, for me, I think it's open, it's like give opportunity to expand the market for the mediation services, and it will respond definitely to the issues of mediation fees for mediators and lawyers participating in mediation proceedings. Because, as you know, if you take the example of the medical or health sector, if you are the specialized ones get more paid than the general practitioners. So let's develop specialization, and that if we do specialize, we shall create a competitive mediation system in our region, even before beyond our continent. So I think we need creating that kind of specialization. We are also planning to work with the accredited mediators to educating the private sector, especially the business community. Yesterday I took the opportunity to speak to the Mozambique business delegation that came to Rwanda. That was hosted, the delegation was hosted by the business community in Rwanda. So I had the opportunity to speak to the delegations, and we realized that they really think that the ADR mechanism is the most appropriate for settlement of commercial disputes, but they are not aware of sometimes of the existence of the mechanism, the benefits, and how the system contributes beyond justice to attain the business of growth. So I think we need to work with the mediators to educate the business community on the benefits and the use of mediation. We also think to work with the mediators to create a kind of a proactive marketing, the proactive marketing approach of mediation service, because at the end of the day, maybe Bruce may contradict me. We lawyers think that mediation services is also a business service. It's like legal services. Those are business services. Don't always think that if you provide mediation, it's like a benevolent service. No. It's another business service because it's paying. So we need to work with them and create a kind of marketing. So I do create a kind of marketing approach, not publicity. Even lawyers, Mr. Batolier, I think marketing is not prohibited in the legal profession. What is prohibited is publicity. If I'm wrong, you may maybe supplement or correct me. But we also need to create a marketing system that serves to inform the public that there is existence of mediation services that offers this and this, and the benefits are this, the accessibility is this, the affordability is this. So I think this is what we need to do, and that will require cross collaboration with our center, the dispute settlement body in ADR, and the accredited neutrals in mediation. So, moderator, if I avoid to be long, the strategies are very long, but I may list the ones that I've just said. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we have been answering to most of the questions on a certain number, and we are within the time. Usually I've been reading it from the Institute of Moderators that you have to keep time and send to disciplinary those who are not respecting the time given to them. So I thank you for respecting the time and giving us the opportunity to respond to the question. But without, we'll be taking time to have questions and remarks from the public, but Nabahiri can also give us some remarks and or tell us about the ADR policy a little bit, and then maybe open for, organize for question and response, if you can allow.
Honorable Chief Justice, regulators, ladies and gentlemen, thank you, the moderator, for this opportunity to just brief present people on how far we are since the alternative dispute resolution policy has been adopted together with the criminal justice policy. I will not be long, but let me just, given I will not come back to what has been said either by the Chief Justice Emeritus or either by Kananga or any other guest among the speakers. As you know, this policy based on our culture as a Chief Justice said, and not only from our culture, beliefs and commitments, but also from the biggest orientations of our constitution. The country has decided to resolve all disputes through a kind of dialogue, through consensus, and among other big strategic orientations of the National Strategy for Transformation has been to encourage citizens into families in solving issues within families in a peaceful way. That is the way that the policy has been developed, trying to inform it. But the research that was conducted revealed that Rwandans rely again on the court system, though they are not happy with outcomes. And in these, mediation as well as other alternative dispute resolution mechanisms come to complement the good work that is done by our courts. And we hope that as we continue developing these kind of mechanisms, court will not continue suffering from the backlog. Peace will be strengthened into the community. And let me recall that one among the big orientations of this policy is that the process to be a community-based one. We need to, all of us, understand what we are doing. We need to discuss with our children, mothers and grandmothers and, in the neighborhood, dispute within the union. And it is, since it was adopted, we started to make a kind of awareness of it through existing frameworks. Research has revealed that there exist formal initiatives, informal ones, as somebody evoked it, and then we tried connecting to each of these initiatives, and especially trying to design an idea or for mediation, an idea policy pilot implementation plan. It is about being finalized, guide us up to at least end 20 fiscal year end 2024. At that time, we will be having a big strategic plan on the implementation of the policy. We have started engaging competent leaders with regard to the legal implications of this policy. In this work, we have approached the Minister of State in charge of Constitution and the Legal Affairs, as well as the Law Reform Commission. Through discussions that we have had, kindly these people advised us to take two quick and quickest urgent priorities. And the Chief Justice Benitez evoked the two, at least the first one. We have been advised to reinforce area policy awareness campaign. We have been advised to ensure capacity building, looking at all key audiences, to make sure that we do change mentalities about these elements of the policy, and then support whatever be done in next activities. And as on the policy implementation, we look at both community level and the level of practitioners. What is good is to observe that, realize that in whatever area, many initiatives are existing, and when you look at what are doing sponsored organizations, the way development partners are excited to supporting whatever initiative, it is promising. In that way, targeted groups are members of academia, students in universities, members of the private sector, the banking and insurance companies, roundabout association, media of all kinds, because if you do not mobilize media and the journalists, they may mislead the general public. And all in all, we need to continue strengthening the way we and keep connected to each other to create a kind of synergy and avoid duplications here and there, and ensure coordination. In a few weeks, we'll be having what I call the area policy pilot implementation plan, expected to run up to end June 2024. And at the same time, we have developed a strategic plan to make sure that we implement systematically in line with the new NST2, and we need to keep ourselves connected to ensure this synergy and ensure the growth of this new service that is important for the citizens of Rwanda, and we ensure complementarity. I don't think it is needed to say much more. Let's people ask for questions, and then we support responding. Thank you very much.
Thank you for Nabahiri, advocated as a coordinator within the Ministry of Justice. And, so now is the opportunity for question and comment. And but before maybe we begin, there is challenges raised by the Chief Justice Emeritus. One of them was offices, where to conduct location of mediation. I was willing to have a kind of commitment. Can KIAC offer sometimes an office for mediators who are willing to have a place where to conduct mediation?
Yes, that is the case, and we do have what we've been doing. For KIAC has that facility to conduct the arbitration and mediation proceedings, but what we put in place as an incentive so far after the adoption of the area policy is that for the mediation services so far we don't charge the facility. For the service conducted at KIAC mediation, so far we are not charging regarding the facility, at least for the venue, the conference, we are not charging. But for arbitration, definitely we do charge. So that was kind of an incentive that we want to put in place so that people can really embrace mediation, and we call upon all the practitioners here, a representative of the companies and lawyers that are advising their clients to embrace mediation. So as far as KIAC is still operating, we think at least for the first 1 year, we are offering the facility free of charge for mediation sessions, but for arbitration, no charging.
Same question for you, neighbor. Can the boardroom of love sometimes serve for mediation?
For now, no. But the interesting thing we are working on together with the judiciary, I may not be the best person to say this, but if the Chief Justice permits, I think we have a team, including myself, Harrison, understands. We are looking at the policy comprehensive to see what can be put in place. One of the things that has come out are offices. I think John has offered to do something, but ours was really technically look at the policy and what other policy actions that we can include in the project, which project may end up also creating space for mediation. It's a just project that we have started working on early stages, but once that project, because the project requires to meet a lot of people, including people like the Dennis, others, so I think an institution is ready to offer it, but that space needs effort to transform it into an ADR center. So there is in pipeline something that we are doing to create an ADR center that has a lot of facilities, but it's in the pipeline. That as far as I can commit or say.
Thank you very much, but the future is bright. Chairperson. Any location, your office or the office of engineer that can be used?
Thank you so much, Madeta. I think this one we are doing it when we come up with the institute in place, we should have all these facilities that is required. That's the objective of the institute. Because the purpose of the institute is this process. And among other, all whatever we think we should be suitable to have this person and the other person when they do. That is our objective. Thank you, sir.
Okay, so already there is at least 2 offices available for now and many coming. I'm sure the president of the Bar Association can do some effort, but do not be ending up in disciplinary committee. I will stop there because I didn't talk to him ahead of time. But I've been asking my managing partner, he has 2 offices, so if there is a lawyer or a mediator willing to have offices, there is 2 offices available free of charge for mediators also. So we have 10 minutes for questions or comments, so the floor is yours. We are willing to hear about what you have to say, or comment you may have, experience you want to share, so the floor is yours. And the mic can be reaching your place if you just show that you have a comment or a question. Chief Justice.
Thank you, moderator. Mine is just to thank the presenters, but also before that the intervention from the Chief Justice Emeritus and also Mr. Kananga, the Executive Director of the LAF. And everyone present here is to thank you for coming for this event. As you know, we are organizing a mediation week, and we can't have, of course, mediation without mediators. So we are very lucky that you have been working as mediators and as pioneers of the mediation process. We thank, of course, the court mediation committee chaired by Chief Justice Emeritus and the board members of the committee. And we are getting good feedbacks from different parties or from different sectors. On Monday we had lawyers, and I'm sure that here there are many lawyers who were not maybe in attendance on Monday, but the batalion was there, the president of the Bar Association was there. So really the word that I can want, the message that I'd like to convey to you is really to, as you have started with this training, this initial course, I want you really to go even further and further, and you'll see that with mediation, the future is bright. We have seen it with, as I said, lawyers, the small team of lawyers were with us on Monday, but we have seen it also with people from the financial sector. I'm sure some of you had time to follow it on YouTube. You have seen how the CEOs of those companies are very ready, to take up mediation. And they are saying, if you are not on board, you will be left out. That is basically the message that they were conveying. So please get on board, especially our colleagues from the legal fraternity, but of course without forgetting other mediators coming from the construction industry or other from the accountants or others that are mediators. So the short message that I would like to convey is really don't be, as the Chief Justice Emeritus said, don't be discouraged by the fact you are starting, you are not getting enough business. More business is yet to come because of course, the initiative that is taken by the government, especially as Dejan Navahe was saying, there is a linear public policy in which some of it will be made mandatory, family, commercial, and others. So you see that there is room for growth, but also when we are seeing worldwide, we are seeing that resolving dispute through mediation is taking shape. And as someone said, we are building also some specialized field. So maybe specialized in commercial mediation. Another one will be specialized in family mediation. So, there is room really for growth. That was really my message of encouragement, a message of continuous training, and we at the judiciary, we are of course committed to continue to work hand in hand with other stakeholders in order to continue to strengthen the capability of mediators, but also ADR in general, because we are talking about ADR, but also we are not forgetting other dispute resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chief Justice.
My name is Ime Oshimana. I'm a member of the task force on mediation. I want to thank everyone for the interventions. And particularly, I have like 2 comments I have to make. First, it's like a question. I want to hear more about the Mediation Institute that is planned and provided in the area policy. Can we hear more about that? What will be the plan? Because as we are thinking about the Rwanda Institute of Mediation, it's good if you can understand also what is provided for the India Institute, so that it will not be like duplication or maybe confusion on what should be done. This is like a question. Coming from what has been asked by the panelists, asked by the moderator to the panelists on availability of spaces and whatever, Kiaki has offered. We heard more about even the moderator has offered his office. But I was thinking about how to promote more, particularly the court annexed mediation, which is coming from the courts. Is it possible to have a space in each and every court where we can sit, meet people, and have a calendar? Why not have it have a mediation hour or mediation time in each and every court? And I think this can be a starting point which will be really key and will help develop. And then, if possible, pro bono services can be provided. We can check on what we are doing, where are we going, what is succeeding, what is failing, and this can be like a way of checking on ourselves, and this will help in promoting our work. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My name is Mediation. So I would like first to thank God for having made this happen. I would also like to extend my thanks to the government of Rwanda that has made this to become a reality. And I extend thanks to the biggest person, Edward, who has contributed to this journey. So it's not a question, it's about asking, now that I will be certified mediator, here you have the certificate. I am asking, what is the remaining legal formality so that I can start doing my job as a mediator, because the community outside is waiting for me. Thank you.
A good question, answer. So the registration on the website and so we find a solution. Dr. Fidel?
Thanks a lot. Let's come into bonds. I'm apologizing because I came late, but I just also have one comment, which is a question addressed to the representative of the Attorney General, because it's related to the policy and the legislation. Actually, it's a privilege to me to just be speaking and start by thanking what has been done so far. And I believe we've started very well, and the process will be well accelerated. But there are some challenges to be addressed in a legal instrument. To me, I think about legislation. I have two reasons to think that it's about legislation. Of course, we have the India policy, which is a really good thing, and are willing to embark on mediation. They are doing so, and many of us are starting practicing it, which is a good thing. But there are some challenges that need to be dealt with in legislation. Let me be specific. If you see, for instance, the Mediation Act of 2020 in Kenya, because we have been talking about Kenya as an example, and many other countries where mediation is operating, you see that there are at least 5 aspects that need to be addressed in legislation. Number one, I think I want to link the question that has been asked by somebody else about the ADR committee, the institute, what KIAC does as well. We need to address the legislation about the mediation committee to know which institution national-wide has that power to be seen as a mediation committee without having different institutions that can conflict themselves. That's number one. Number two, we need also to have clear guidance from the legislative body about how to certify mediators. I know there are mediators that are certified by the judicial, the court annex mediation. There are others that are certified by KIAC. And I don't know if I'm going to merge them into one organ. Is their certification similar? If we talk about specialization, what's need to be done to be certified, who certified the person? Those aspects need to be dealt with in the legislation. That's number two. Number three, we still have issues in the processes. I don't know if I'm the only one to see that, but we've been extending this on the WhatsApp group where we meet as professional mediators. The process is not really well clear on many aspects. For instance, if you're appointed by a court, they give you a timeline for you to complete the task. How if you don't complete that task within that timeline? How if parties are not being cooperative? There are many aspects to be regulated, including conflict of interest, including disclosures, including confidentiality. There are many aspects to be regulated in the process. Another aspect that can also be in the legislation, it's about the referrals, some details about the referrals, and recognition and enforcement of mediated settlement. That aspect also, we don't have any other legal instrument that can clearly provide, binding decision on that. And last but not the least, it's about the mediation cost. So we have some rest from the court annex mediation. There are also rules for the Kigali International Trade Center. But I think it's a high time that we have, rates that are well regulated and formulated in the act of legislation that can be easily, their cost effective, but also that are based on the reality. I would also add offenses and code of conduct. I understood that the institute is going to do something about it, but is it binding, or can we think about a legislation that respond to many of the issues? The reason why I'm asking this question, I remember we had the draft of law when I was still at Kigali International Arbitration Center. Just want to ask if that draft law is still in the process, or if if there is something in the pipeline, or if we are going to operate without waiting for it. Thanks a lot.
So thank you. I think it's an opportunity now to respond. So mainly the question raised by Metro Eme, Council Eme, on the institute versus the ADR institute, if there is any conflict, or if you're working together to ensure that the institute that will be coming will be working together, not conflicting.
Thank you so much, moderator. I think there is no conflict. What we are doing, the institute of the ADR, I think that is broader. That is, it comprises all other disputes. Then to do with the mediation, it is specific, which is just because mediation has been given a lot of money, alternative dispute, but then there's a broader sense. But Mr. Nadahiri can understand, can clarify with that, because it is stipulated in the ADR policy. That's what I can say, but there is no conflict.
There was a second question related to the law, draft law you're planning. If it is, you have been checking the law, the draft law that was already in place in regards to mediation.
Yeah, thank you so much. As regards Dr. Masego, what we have done, because we could not access those laws, we have done from our flesh. Because we did a research form, we met several individuals, and then we came up with a law, a draft law. But it's good that we have displayed this on the group, so that if there are any inputs, it is open for everybody to have inputs in that law before it is submitted. That's the chance we have. In regard to several questions that they asked, one of the other questions, he asked how to certify mediators. I think this one is very well stipulated in the law, in the draft law, and then in the terms of mediation. If you went through that document, it is well stipulated how do any law, how does somebody, a mediator, come to be obvious. There are those already who are on the roll today, who are certified. These are called now, these are already on the roll. But what about others who will now join? There is a criteria, there is a criteria how to be enrolled on the roll, which is clearly indicated in the law and also in the terms of mediation. So we cannot, there are criteria. If you went through these two documents, you'll see how somebody gets to be on the roll to be a certified mediator, like in other profession. You have to go through that selection criteria, praise the Lord. Now, another thing he asked was to do with the process of mediation. That's a good question, actually. The timing and everything. I had a training in the education for Malaysia. It reminded me, they came up because they had a problem to do with this construction industry. They specifically made an act to resolve issues to do with the projects. But when you come to the mediation, the adjudication, there is a timeline when you do the adjudication. Beyond that, you have to stop. That means you go to the other level, or you take a decision on that. So that does not become, indefinite. That means every state has a timeline. What does it help? It helps everyone who is carrying this activity to know that there is a timeline to carry out this activity. I think it is a good idea, because when you leave it open, it may become indefinite. I think it is a good idea somebody we can buy so that we operate it, so that whoever is carrying out these activities at least has a timeline to go through this process. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chair. I can maybe ask Justice Harrison for the question of opportunity to have some hours or to use the courtroom after when available.
Thank you very much, Margarita. I think that is obvious and it's been working. Justice Natasha, Chief Justice Emeritus will testify on this, will be very flexible in the courts to avail everywhere where there's space, especially the Supreme Court premises. So whenever there's a moderator, a mediator that will need time to do the mediation after work or weekend or anything, they can let us know, and then we'll see how we can see how the space can be available. So it's working and it's happening. We appreciate that definitely the courthouses that were built before this process came in, they don't have specific mediation rooms. But the ones that are coming up now, if you could see the premises of the Supreme Court, they have mediation rooms that are available there, and they're open to all cases that are court-annexed mediation that can be used for private mediation. So anyone that has an issue with the space or time flexibility, they just let me know, because of the point person of the judiciary in regards to mediation, they can let me, and and then I'll fix time in the courts for them to do the processes there. But the other thing also I can talk about, the gentleman talked about, is about being accredited. We have now 200 Coranex mediators that are on the roll of the judiciary. So the requirements are on the website. You just check on our website, www.judiciary.gov.rw. You will see the numbers of the Coranex mediators that are there. You will see the requirements, you will see everything and all the details that we need. But if you're not satisfied, just find me out, call me, I will give you the details on how you can be enrolled to that and such. I'm saying on the Coranex mediation, but for KIAC, then you can reach out to Mr. Mugabe and then they will talk about it. Then the other thing Dr. Masengo talked about, of course we have the Chief Justice directives, and in them they do stipulate the time frame of when mediation is supposed to start and when to end. But we even went to the length and said to make forms that they're now being used by the private mediators. I don't know if that came to mind with those people. We have forms that are being used in Coranex mediation, and in them we even stipulated the time frame. And then we also indicated that in the time when mediation is not done, what you're supposed to be doing is seeking another lease of time from the court to allow you to proceed with this. So it's well stipulated. And about the costs, definitely we have the costs that are on our website. Of course, you just go on Coranex mediation, you will see the threshold of our costs. Well, I know they will be coming an argument that said the costs are there, not very, very friendly on those, but we did that intentionally because we wanted to protect mediation. We wouldn't start with a lot of money and then send people to mediation, that is it. But the cost setting is also there, and so I think those are the details that I was supposed to be talking about that I think were not addressed by the rest of us. Thank you so much, moderator.
Thank you, Justice Harrison. Thank you, Chairperson and the panelists. We still have like 5 minutes, but only if there is a question. Is somebody having a burning question that cannot be raised? We have Chief Justice asking for the microphone.
Just complement Justice Mutawazi on, and also to answer a little bit the question of Dr. Masengo. Although I am not, of course, the policy, the political space, but I have information from the Minister of Justice. We're together this morning, and I was conveying to him some message that, but also some recommendation that emerged from our Tuesday meeting, for example, with the financial sector industry. And the people from the financial sector. And one message was to say, and one issue was the legal framework. So it is urgent, it is very urgent that we have a mediation act, mediation law, mediation act, very, very urgent that we have the legal framework. So we have seen the draft law, the initial draft that was done by the task force. It does have its merits. It does have also some weaknesses, especially when it combines the mediation process with the institutional framework, like setting up an institute. So that is, we will discuss maybe when the judiciary will give its input. Other stakeholders will be also giving their input. I know that from the Ministry of Justice, also through the Rwanda Law Reform Commission, they are really actively working to have this mediation act really ready, because you can't continue to work that way. So from the colleagues who say that, how I get to be a court mediator, Justice Mutawazi just said it. But we have to make sure, we have to understand that it is a kind of temporary system that has been set up, It was just to avoid a vacuum, because we are using mediators. We want, and unfortunately for me, I found the Chief Justice Emeritus who has already started the mechanism. I jump on the train,
in order to continue the process. So we have been driving it as an initial phase, really. This accreditation process is just temporary. It's a temporary process. But when the system will be set up, that is where we will have, being an institute or something like that, this is a regulatory body that will be set up. But we not mean that we will not have many mediation, mediation practice as we have in arbitration. We have a TIAC, yes, but there is no problem that, for example, law firm can specialize in arbitration, for example, commercial arbitration, something like that. We see for sure many people specializing in construction, creating construction dispute or whatever. But first and foremost, let us have a legal framework. And I was just saying, the Minister of Justice is aware of it, and I am sure that the government will speed up the process to have a regulatory framework. Otherwise, we can't continue with the backup.
Thank you, Chief Justice. Anybody comment, questions? So help me to thank the panelists, and we're grateful to have them available this afternoon. So, thank you very much.
Help me give another big round of applause to the panelists. This has been very important. Out of this. Thank you and thank you very much. We're ending here this session. We're going to make a break of 20 minutes, I think, also if we can, so that we can come and close the other session before it's too late. So we're going to end here. We're going to go for